Alrighty. Looks like we should be broadcasting, so once we get a couple of people in here, we can go ahead and get started for today. Are we live yet? What's the situation here? Okay. Looks like we are live. Alright, cool. That is good to know. YouTube is very confusing sometimes when you want to do a live stream. Alright, so we've got a bit of a different setup for today's video. We're going to be watching the current generation iMac, which came out in 2012. It's 8 years old. So we have a different setup for today's stream that I think you guys are going to enjoy. We're using a different streaming program, and I have a guest star. Very exciting. Today, joining me on the stream, we have Noah Rubin. You may remember him from a couple of videos. Let's bring him on board here. How's it going,
Hello.
Noah?
Good, how are
Look
you?
at this. We got a reunion here. It's live. This is the first time that Noah has been live on the channel. Isn't that right? Or no,
It
it's
is.
not. Because didn't we do, in 2018, I think we did a keynote for WWDC. I think we watched WWDC together
Yeah, we
and
did. I
streamed
think we
it.
did some sort of a stream for some subscriber milestone that was a very long time ago.
Oh, you're right,
Uh,
20K. We did 20K.
20, you're about
That's what it
to get
was.
another order of magnitude.
You're right about. You can tell that you're a math and programming nerd. Ah,
Uh,
jeez. Okay, so here's what we've got for today. Let me just make sure everyone. I'm not seeing any complaints about audio or video in the chat, which is good. This is a new streaming setup. YouTube is really weird to stream on. It's very complicated. Anyway,
yeah.
wait, someone said voice is gone? Can I just get confirmation in the chat that everything's working well? Let us know if there's any issues. So, we are going back in time here to October of 2012, which was when the slim tapered edge iMac was unveiled. And I believe at this stream is also the 13-inch Retina MacBook Pro. So I think we're going to get multiple product
Oh,
launches here. So for some context, October 2012, this was a month after the iPhone 5 keynote, which was a great launch, great
oh
phone.
yeah. Great phone.
And I believe, yeah, so this was also a couple months after the original Retina MacBook Pro. So 2012 was a really good year. Oh, ooh, you know what? I think we might also be getting an iPad, the iPad Mini at this keynote.
Really?
I think this was a triple launch keynote, I'm starting to think,
Wow,
which is
that's
pretty crazy.
exciting.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and bring up our keynote here. Let's get started.
I'm placing a bet. I think they're gonna remove the CD drive from the iMac.
Oh, that's
I
a
just
good
I just
call.
have a feeling. I don't know.
You might be onto something here. Let's skip ahead a little bit here. There he is. Oh, look at all the
Good
look at all
morning.
the iPads in the audience.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hang on a second. Are people saying that they can't hear me?
It's just one guy.
Oh, Joe Plavin says that he can hear me. Haha. We got
We
Joe
gotta trust
Plavin here.
Joe. We gotta
Everyone
trust
trusts
Joe.
Joe. Okay, yeah, I mean, I don't see anyone else complaining about it. Let's just keep going. I'll monitor the chat.
Thank you very much for joining us. It is great to be back in the California Theater. We have some very fond memories here, and we're going to create a few more today. We've got some really exciting things to show you. And I'd like to get started with a few updates, beginning with iPhone. iPhone 5 is off to a tremendous start. Customers love the stunning new design, the beautiful 4-inch Retina display, and the super
The
fast
4-inch Retina
Precision
display.
chip.
Oh
We
man.
sold out the
That was a
first
good one
week,
when they just made it a little bit
selling
taller.
more
Made
than
it a big
5 million
difference.
units.
But everyone, do you remember how there were all those parody commercials back in 2012? Because everyone was like freaking out that the phone was too tall and you couldn't reach with your thumb. Remember when that
Oh,
was like
yeah.
the most important thing?
Oh yeah.
And they were like, you can't reach the top right of the screen or the top left of your screen with your thumb. It's a terrible phone. The screen's too big. That didn't age
yeah.
well.
Than in one of our amazing retail stores. To give you an idea of the kind of excitement we saw at the launch, we made a brief video, and I'd love to run it for you this morning.
I would love to not have that because that is going to have copyrighted audio, and I don't want to deal with that. Oh, look at how here, we'll give commentary. Oh, wow, they cleaned it off.
Oh boy.
Look, they all were excited. They had photographs, and they were really excited. Oh, that guy
Imagine
liked
not
it.
having
He
social
really likes it.
distance.
Oh, man, that guy bought an iPhone 5. They're all so excited about the iPhone 5. Okay,
Oh
ooh.
boy.
Look at that. They're at an Apple store. How cool is that?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, they're so happy. They're taking pictures. Oh,
Oh.
they've got a camera. That guy's really happy. Oh, they got
Oh,
a dog.
is happy.
The dog wants an iPhone 5 too. That's so cool.
Everyone wants an iPhone 5.
That guy got one. That guy wants one. There they are. Ooh, wow.
That was.
Ah, a little
Very
bit of
sick.
music played. Oh God. I hope we don't get copyrighted for that.
Our teams work incredibly hard to deliver amazing products like iPhone 5, and seeing this type of customer response reminds us of why we absolutely love to do it. At the same time we announced iPhone 5 last month, we announced two new incredible
Oh,
iPods.
remember the iPod
All
Nano?
new,
Was that the
incredible
Nano?
with a
Yeah.
2.5-inch multi-touch screen.
I think they still sell
and
that.
built-in Bluetooth.
Do they really?
Amazingly
Let me
thin
check.
iPod Touch with the same 4-inch Retina.
That was a pretty good
display
iPod Touch.
that we have on iPhone 5.
Mm-hmm.
These are off to a fantastic start. The reception has been fantastic. Here's what The Verge had to say.
The Verge.
This year's iPod Touch is the best one ever.
And the last one ever. If you
Really
think about it.
nice without
Because the thing
competition.
was, this was a good iPod Touch, the 5th gen, but by 2012 the iPod was pretty much on its way out because like people were at this point iPhones were affordable enough that you weren't going to have a phone and an iPod. So they introduced it, but they also pretty much killed it.
Right, and
if
I
that
feel
makes
like
sense.
yeah, I feel like also like when the iPods, when we were the ones getting the iPods, like we didn't have phones. Or maybe we had like flip phones or something.
Okay, well I
But,
was hang on a second. I accidentally closed the tab.
Oh, whoops.
Like a fool. Let me
Well-
just bring that one back up here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, continue. I'll bring it back up.
Okay. I was just saying like when we were the ones getting the iPods, I feel like we didn't have phones, or maybe we had like flip phones, but now
Yeah.
like you got like elementary school kids with smartphones, so I guess things are different.
Yeah, so I mean, because back then, because if you were getting an iPhone, this was still in like the really the big moment of like you were buying on a 2-year contract. You're buying subsidized, so you had an iPhone, and like it was still pretty expensive. Whereas nowadays, you can get every phone is a smartphone, so you're gonna get a data plan.
Right.
And you can buy an iPhone 7 for $140 on eBay. Like iPhones are so much more. It's cheaper to buy a used iPhone than to buy an iPod Touch. And as soon as that became the case, the iPod Touch was effectively dead in the water.
Yep.
Are upgradable to the latest operating system. And I'm pleased to tell you that in just after 1 month, we have 200 million devices running iOS 6.
iOS 6 was good, except for Maps.
That's true.
Maps was a disaster.
This
Other than that, it was solid. It was like the true peak of like the skeuomorphic design.
Yeah, that's true, because it was the last and the best skeuomorphic iOS.
Yeah.
I think in some cases it actually looked better than iOS 7.
Mountain Lion
Because
Yeah,
iOS 7 was a little
was-
weird.
to make
Yeah, it was
Macs
a little
and
iffy.
iOS devices work together simply and seamlessly. And over the past year, we've announced some great new features that make your life easier.
Oh, but I'm sure they do. All right,
All
let's get to something exciting
They're
here.
currently sending them at 28,000 per second.
Oh, wow.
Like game players.
Oh, remember Game Center? Whatever happened to
Oh,
Game
yeah.
Center?
Compete against
That is not
anyone
around anymore, is
with
it?
an iOS device or a
It
Mac.
sort of exists, like for achievements and stuff, but there's no app anymore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because it used to have the app, and then I think iOS 8, they made it like the little bubbles.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh,
No one
yeah.
ever used it. I've never heard of anyone ever in the history of anything using Game Center. Like, I opened it once because I was like, what the heck is this app that I can't delete? And then that was it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, the App Store. Wow. Because
Yeah.
keep in mind that, we're talking about 2012. We're only... When did the App Store come out? Was that iPhone OS 2?
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it came out with the 3G. So we're only 4 years into the App Store.
Yeah.
Oh, and iBooks. God, no one
yeah.
cares about iBooks. The Mac, okay. Okay, here we go. Looks like we got some stuff here. As usual, 13 minutes of vamping. You gotta have it.
Wouldn't be a keynote without it.
Exactly.
Now, we're really pleased with all of the momentum with the Mac, but we are not standing still.
Looks like my camera went off for a
We're
sec.
going to continue innovating with the Mac, and we've got some really great stuff to show you this morning. And to do that, I'd like to
That's a
invite Phil
unibody.
Schiller up to take you through it.
Well,
Phil?
because they haven't announced the Retina yet. Because the 2012, the 13-inch was only a unibody at this point. The Retina just came out for the 15 at WWDC in June
I
of
see.
2012.
Okay.
Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Good,
Well, I'm
thank
really
you.
excited because today is a very big day for the Mac. And it starts
That's a fact.
with MacBook. We have a great lineup of notebook computers called MacBook.
That really was a
And
huge
just a
lineup.
few
They had
months
5
ago,
different
we
versions.
introduced perhaps
Yeah.
the best we have ever created. The 15-inch MacBook Pro with a Retina display.
That was another good keynote. We should do that one
Everyone
another
has
time.
fallen in love with it.
Yeah, that was.
And Gadget wrote, the new display is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. The Verge, best display ever for a laptop. Wired, Apple has undoubtedly created the best notebook display in the market. And they're all correct. It is the best
I
display.
mean, at the time,
housed in the
you
best
wouldn't get,
notebook design
like,
we have ever made.
IPS high-res panels were just not a thing
You
in
might not know
laptops.
that our #1 selling notebook
It's
is
true.
actually the 13-inch MacBook
It was
Pro.
super nice.
In fact, it's our #1 selling Mac. And customers love it because of its combination of power in small size. It's just perfect for so many uses.
Those
truly
unibodies
is a
really
great
are
computer.
some of the most versatile
So in
computers, even
typical
today.
Apple fashion, we're going to take
Oh,
our
yeah.
best product and we're going to
Make it
introduce
more
something
expensive.
So much better, so much cooler, more capable.
I'm pretty sure the
Really excited to
original,
show you for the first
we're going to
time
find out
brand
here,
new
but I'm pretty sure this thing
13-inch
started at like
MacBook Pro.
1800. I think it started at 1799,
Oh man.
which is insane.
It is incredibly thin, just 0.75 inches thin. Let's put that side by side with the previous generation.
When did they
See,
start doing
huge
the
difference.
0.75
It's
inches
20%
thin?
thinner, a full
I've always hated that. Tech people, they always do
Even more
that.
impressive, it weighs just
I
over
don't know.
3.5 pounds. That's
Wow.
almost a full pound lighter than the previous generation.
Amazing.
It also makes it our lightest MacBook Pro ever. And here it is on the side. Look how thin that is. Beautiful thin base, thin
I
display.
mean, 8 years
and all
ago,
the I/O
that's
our Pro
it looks
customers
pretty
need.
good.
On
That the
left-hand
Retina is one of the
side,
best
there's
looking
MagSafe
notebook
2,
designs ever.
2
It
Thunderbolt
has
ports,
lasted.
a USB 3
Oh, yeah, it
port,
definitely still
headphone,
holds
and dual
up.
microphones.
The only thing that doesn't quite hold up are the
Right-hand
bezels,
side,
I
as
think.
with the 15-inch,
They're
we removed
bit
the optical drive,
thick.
And now we have room for an SD card
That's
reader.
true.
HDMI
Are they bigger
video
than
out,
the
second
than the
USB 3 port.
2016 era?
Mm-hmm.
Here it is on the other
Pretty
side,
noticeably, yeah.
equally beautiful from both sides.
They're smaller than a
Best of
unibody
all,
by a little
it has
bit.
a Retina display. That is a display where the pixels are so small that at a normal working distance, your eye can't discern them. And everything on it looks absolutely gorgeous. It measures 13.3 inches on the diagonal. For pixels, it's an amazing
I just had a thought.
560
You
by
know how
1600. That is 4 times.
you know how the rumor is that we're going to switch to mini LED, right?
Right.
And we all know that Apple loves to have silly marketing names whenever they put a new technology in the phone or in their stuff. So like first there was the Retina display, and then what do we have? The Super Retina. What do they call the one in the iPhone 10R and 11? The Liquid Retina.
That's liquid, and then the iPhone 11 Pro is the
Super Retina
XDR. But
oh,
it's
the XDR. I don't know why they added that on there. Like, I have a 10S. My roommate has an 11. I don't understand what the difference is. Like, I'm sure they look a little bit different, but what the XDR does not seem relevant because that's not what that technology is.
It's like when they call their processors like the neural engine or whatever they call them.
Oh yeah, they have the motion coprocessor. That was They started that with the 6S or the 5S, right? With the A7 and M7.
Yeah.
And then they also have the, what do they call it? Well, there's the neural engine. Well, now they have Bionic, of course.
Oh yeah, Bionic. That's right.
It's the Bionic, the A13 Bionic, and they have a neural engine. Like, they gotta just add all of these things. So the question is, with Mini LED, what is gonna be their stupid name to describe that display technology?
That is a fantastic question.
Right?
Someone says Super Mini Retina XDR LED.
I like that. I
could see it.
I could see that working. Super Mini Retina XDR LED. Let's put that up on the screen there. Potato Cat. I think you should. I think you have a job at Apple. Because that's brilliant. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why that happens. I do not like my capture card. It's not very effective. Anyway, I think that what if so they got to keep Retina because they don't want you to forget Retina. They've been putting that on everything for 8 years. Or 10 because the iPhone 4. So maybe they'll just do Retina XDR. Maybe they'll just call it XDR because that's what XDR is in large part. It's just the local dimming zones.
Well, is that what their $5,000 display is?
Yeah, well, it's the Pro Display XDR. It has like 576 local dimming zones and like extreme dynamic range is what they call it. It's like more than high dynamic range. It's not It's not HDR. It's XDR.
Oh, of course.
But
is that
I feel like
LED?
No, not quite. I'm not an expert on display technologies, but I'm fairly certain it uses local dimming zones, but it's not Mini LED because Mini LED allows you to have like 1,000 local dimming zones in theory. It's kind of like a way to get between, like if you want to really simplify it, it's kind of like a halfway point between OLED, which is every single pixel is individually lit, and an LCD, which is the whole screen is individually lit. So you can have, it's still an LCD kind of, but it's got basically a bunch of different little backlights, so you can have much better contrast. That's kind of the way to think about it. And it's a lot less expensive than OLED, which means you can put it on larger screens for less expense.
I think it's going to be Retina XDR Pro or Retina XDR.
Oh, yeah, they got to have a Pro in there. I feel like they just have a basket in Tim Cook's office with like their favorite words, like Plus, Max, Pro, XDR, Retina, Super, and they just kind of like pick 3, and they're like, all right, that's good.
I mean, that works.
Times the number of pixels of the previous generation. And if you've done the math, I'm sure some of you have, that's 4,096,000 pixels.
Amazing.
That makes it the world's second highest resolution notebook computer. Yes, our 15-inch is the first, but think about that. This 13-inch notebook has more pixels than any competitive 15 or even 17-inch notebook. It is amazing.
This was back when 1366 by 768 was super popular. Do you remember that? Those screens are...
And here are 13-inch.
They'd put them on 15-inch laptops. The 1366 by 768.
You can see the 13-inch MacBook
God, it's
Pro's
the
Retina
worst.
display displays almost twice as many pixels, almost 2 million more pixels than an HD TV.
Wow. All
Rich
right, let's
color,
skip forward a little
deep
bit.
blacks, 29% higher contrast ratio, and customers really appreciate this, a 75% reduction in reflection or glow.
That was a really big one. Because remember the unibodies didn't have any anti-reflective coatings. Do you remember that? I was
unless
working
you got
on
like the special one.
well, the matte one, which the 13-inch didn't have. They never had that for the 13. But gosh, I mean, if you ever are sitting outside with one of the unibodies, you can't see anything. It's terrible.
Oh, I remember that.
It was so bad. Oh, look at the
That
old
movie.
Final Cut. Oh, look at Aperture. Remember Aperture?
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure they killed Aperture.
Yeah, I think so.
There's the old App Store. Mountain Lion was also pretty good. Mavericks was
Yeah.
good as well.
Yeah, Mavericks. They were both
There's a
good.
FaceTime HD camera with 720 video recording, dual microphones.
Oh, why do you
720,
say it
can you
like
believe
that?
Sound even better
720
than the
video
previous generation,
recording.
despite it being a thinner notebook.
I know, but we're
There's a
still at
beautiful
720
backlit
on the
keyboard
Macs.
and a glass
I know, it's crazy.
So sad.
They still use the same cameras. They're 8 years old. I mean, maybe they're a little bit different. I think there is a decent chance. I'm not 100%, but there is a decent chance that the cameras in like the current MacBook Pro are identical to this camera. There's a decent chance.
At the very least, we could use 1080p.
I know. I mean, the iMac Pro has 1080p, and it looks really good, actually. I don't know why they haven't put that on literally anything else. It's been 3 years. Now, the reason I paused on this frame, I wanted to point something out. The interior of this laptop is actually a little interesting. So, first of all, you'll notice it doesn't look like what you might expect the Retinas to look like. I don't know how many of you guys or are familiar with the inside of a Retina MacBook Pro, but they've historically had one fan over here. This was the only, or at least until the Touch Bar models, which have two fans. But this, you'll notice you've got these weird tiny fans. Like, look at the size of this computer, and then look how small the fans are in there. It's weird. And
They seem a bit small to do much.
And you'll also notice, take a look at the location of the SSD. Tell me what strikes you as odd about that.
Is the SSD the one, is it near the fan or is that the network card?
The SSD is down in the middle between the batteries where the trackpad is.
That's weird.
Do you know, and you'll notice it's in like this bracket, right? And it's got a lot of empty space around it.
Right.
Would you like to know why they did that?
I would.
They tried so hard to get a 2.5-inch mechanical hard drive in this thing to cut costs. Apple really did not want to put flash storage as standard, but they couldn't fit the hard drive in while fitting in all the batteries and the thickness that they wanted. Like that little hole in there where that SSD is almost exactly the size of a hard drive. You could pull that thing out, pull out the bracket, and a hard drive fits in there perfectly, but there's not enough room for the connector. So that's why they had to, and then it also like didn't meet they would have had to make the whole device like 0.02 of an inch thicker or whatever.
Oof.
Sorry, 0.02 of an inch less thin, as they would put it. And so they decided to just make the whole thing more expensive and do flash storage. So it probably just added like $200 to the price so they could do that.
Huh.
It's very strange.
Everything about the new MacBook Pro has been re-engineered from scratch. First, the large dark areas around the trackpad, those are the batteries. We use asymmetric lithium-ion battery technology. This allows us
And they
to get the
glued it
maximum
in so you
battery
can't
life
replace it.
out of such a small design. Let me highlight some of the features. It's pretty incredible. You have Intel dual-core i5 or i7 Ivy Bridge processors. Intel HD
Exact same
graphics,
processors as the
4000 much faster
unibody.
graphics.
Same
Wi-Fi,
graphics as
Bluetooth,
well.
Standard 8
Yeah.
gigabytes of memory.
Same
up to
memory.
768 gigabytes of flash. It's all flash-based for storage. And of course, now up to 7 hours of battery life in such a thin, light product. It is a fantastic computer. And it ships with OS X Mountain Lion, and Mountain Lion has many great features that take advantage of this technology and are perfect for our notebook users.
I'm sure it does. Let's skip
Because
ahead.
worked on. The
They didn't give a whole lot of time
5 gigahertz
to...
dual-core i5,
Oh, here we go.
8 gigs of memory and 128
Here's the starting
gigabytes of
price.
flash for just $16.99.
2.5 gigahertz dual core i5, 8 gigs, 128 gigabyte SSD, $1,700. People complained when the touch bar came out at $1,500, which was a lot, but $1,700. And keep in mind, like, this was part of that weird time where the stock, like, hard drives were 500 gigs, a terabyte, but flash was so expensive. So you would be spending, if you wanted to do this, over the, because I think the Retina, or the unibody was $1099, or maybe $1199. I think this was still when it was less expensive than a MacBook Air. I could be wrong about that. But you would be spending like $400 extra to get way less storage. Granted, it was faster, but like, not a lot of people bought this thing.
Not the best value.
Now,
All flash
the 15-inch
architecture.
MacBook Pro with Retina display has been a big hit, and this is $500 less expensive, so customers are going to really appreciate that.
That's a weird way to market it. The 15-inch MacBook Pro is great, and this one is $500 less, and it also has half the cores, less RAM. Well, actually, no, it has the same amount of RAM, less storage, no dedicated graphics, a smaller screen. It should be less expensive.
Yeah.
If it were the same price, I think that would be very confusing.
It starts shipping today. And like all of our products,
Today?
it works very,
Oh my
very
gosh,
well.
we gotta order
Ready to
it.
buy
It's
one.
environmentally friendly. So we have a checklist, and I like to show that with our products. It's Energy Star 5.2, E-Peat Gold.
Yeah,
We
okay,
see it's an
okay.
ad. So let's run that ad.
Well, let's not.
Uh-oh.
That sounds like it's a landmine full of music. Oh, do you remember the 15-inch ad that had, wait, let's see.
MacBook Pro.
Oh, that's I'm a little nervous about that music. Do you remember the 15-inch that had the Kid Street song track? That was like
Which
the
one was
best.
the-
It was like the iconic 15. It looked pretty similar to this, and it had, I don't know, that song. I love that song. It was a great song.
to watch it again.
So the new 13-inch MacBook Pro with Retina display joins the 15 as the only two notebooks in the industry with Retina display quality. And it's powerful and super thin and light, and customers are really going to love it. And here's our notebook lineup.
Oh, it was
We have
$11.99.
MacBook Air starting at $999. For those who still want it, we keep the old generation there.
So for those who still want it, we keep the old generation there. With the prices that it had been using for years, and then you have a $500 premium for the exact same processors. Literally, they had the exact same internals on the Retina. It's crazy.
Wide range here and something for nearly everyone. So that updates our MacBook lineup, and it is the best line of portables we have ever offered. Next, Mac Mini.
They did the Mac
Something
Mini
called
here
Mini
too?
presentation, didn't you?
Oh my gosh. Is this a quad product launch? Did they really launch 4 things at this
The Mac
event? That's
Mini is
insane.
our smallest,
What's
most
the time?
affordable
Like,
Mac.
what time are we
And
at?
if you haven't looked at one lately, it's packed with a lot of great.
I mean, there's still
Gigabit Ethernet,
plenty of time.
Firewire 800,
Well, I mean, we know that
HDMI
they
video out,
did the
Thunderbolt,
iMac, so that's
USB,
already
now
3.
upgraded to USB 3, 4 of
Yeah.
them. SD card reader.
This was
and
also a
audio in
good
and out.
good update
The
here.
action on this product and the update is on the inside, so let's turn it over. And it's very accessible. You just take the bottom cover right off, and here's the inside. It's a beautiful, simple, small design. What's inside? Dual or quad Intel Core i5 or i7 Ivy Bridge processors.
That was a huge.
Intel
Did you
graphics
know, Noah, that
4000,
this guy had
Wi-Fi,
quad
Bluetooth.
core i7s, and then 2 years later they updated it and they removed the option to have quad core processors or upgradable storage or upgradable RAM. They soldered the RAM and they made it dual core only. Classic Apple. Wow, it started at $600. The current Mac Mini is like 800, I think,
Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
which in itself hasn't been updated in 2 years.
Day. And equally environmentally friendly as well. Energy Star 5.2, EPEAT Gold, BFR-free, PVC-free, and highly recyclable. And Mac Mini is still the world's most energy-efficient desktop.
Yeah, because it runs on a
Idle
laptop
consumes just
processor.
11
Yeah.
watts. It's really impressive. Our customers really like it. But we said this is a big day for the Mac. So I have one more Mac I'd like to tell
All right,
you
here we go.
about,
Here's the main event.
and that's the
Oh
iMac.
boy.
The iMac is the best all-in-one computer in the industry.
Except for the crippling
Sure.
graphics card
It's actually
failure.
the number one desktop model in the US. And for good reason. It is a great design, evolved over many years. In fact, many think of it as the flagship of the Mac product line. You may remember
Certainly
it all
that's not
started
the
back
case
in
anymore.
1998.
Hey,
Yes,
there it is, the
Bondi
original
Blue iMac.
Bondi Blue.
In fact, this really relaunched all of our products. The way we make products, how innovative they are, how incredible the designs are.
That's really true.
And it also epitomizes something that Apple does so well, to create a breakthrough, innovative product, and then through the years, relentlessly keep updating it with the latest technology to push it as far as
Oh man, that's funny. That is absolutely hilarious. It's this core thing that we do at Apple, relentlessly updating it forever and ever. 8 years later. Literally, that is actually hilarious. I might have to find a way to put that in a video. That's so funny. I mean, we can also react to when he said that the iMac was what launched Apple. That is so true. Steve Jobs came back in 1997. The iMac was the beginning of modern Apple, if you think about it. Because that was their 2x2 marketing grid. Do you remember that, Noah? The 2x2 grid? They basically had, because they at the time Apple had way too many laptops, and like they had so many different product lines because like in that years when Steve Jobs wasn't there. And so the 2x2 strategy was one laptop for everyone and one laptop for pros, one desktop for everyone, one desktop for pros. So then you had iBook and PowerBook, then iMac and PowerMac. It was simple, brilliant, and this was, remember the clamshell iBook G3 that was sort of inspired by the iMac, came out in '99. Those were the good old days. And then the titanium PowerBook. Then there was the PowerMac also had the iMac style design with the plastic and the Bondi Blue and all of that stuff. That literally saved Apple, the original iMac.
the technology allows.
I just love
We've had
how
7
jarring it is to go
generations
from
of
the like just
each one
from
better
that
than
black
the
one
last.
to the
Yeah.
So that's
flower
why
one.
it's
The
so
whatever it's
G4
called.
for you to be the
sunflower.
first to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
the next generation of iMac. And here it is.
One of the most deceptive reveals.
Let's see how long it takes them to show the back.
Yeah. So right now everyone's thinking, okay, how is it that thin? That's literally impossible. Sneaky angles, that's how.
It is absolutely beautiful.
It is a good design, I'll admit. It's old, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
It is stunning from every side, edge-to-edge glass, that amazingly thin.
Yeah, not
edge.
edge-to-edge screen though, as
Would
we
you
all
like to see one
know.
in person?
Would you- I would like
I
to
wanna
see one in
see-
We have
person.
one
I
right
want to
here.
see the bulge.
Okay, gotta show it from the front, of course.
So this is the brand new iMac. It is absolutely incredible, the most beautiful Mac we have ever made. If you want to get a look at how thin it is, I'll turn it just a little bit.
Turn it just a little bit, just so we
Oh.
can't
Look at that
see the
edge.
back of it.
Just remarkable.
You can
how
see it a
thin
little
the
bit, but
design is.
not enough.
I would much rather have thicker sides and like a uniform
Oh.
thickness.
There's an entire
Yeah.
computer in here. It's hard to believe there's even just a display in here.
I mean, I can believe that there's a display in there. I wish they would do more of these like
Right, let me tell you a
in-person
lot more about
demonstrations.
it.
They don't do those very much anymore.
Yeah.
That edge is 5 millimeters thin. That is 80% thinner than the previous generation. And it extends
Who cares?
the entire length.
Why does the edge matter?
Lovingly call this the chin. Now,
Apparently they're gonna kill the
this
chin.
enclosure is made of two parts. That chin.
Good.
Have you heard that? Apparently it's gonna look like the new iMac is supposedly gonna look like an iPad Pro on a stick.
That's
Which
good.
I like. I don't know if the what's your opinion, Noah, on rounded display? Like if they were to do an iPad Pro style design with like the rounded corners that you get on the iPad Pro, what do you think about that?
I feel like on a Mac it would be a little bit weird because you're used to like, your windows are square or rectangular. So I feel like I'd be curious to see how they change the operating system to like accommodate that.
I feel like if you wanted to have like a slight round, like just ever so slightly in the corners, I feel like it wouldn't really impact much. If it were just a very, very slight. But if it were as much as like if you were to take a 12-inch iPad Pro and blow it up to 27 inches, that's a really what do you call it? The radius of that turn. You're a math guy. What do you call that?
Yeah, radius.
The radius of the turn, whatever, would be really, really. I feel like that would get in the way.
Well, like if you had a window in full screen, it would block the X button.
Oh, you're right. They'd have to completely rethink Mac OS.
Yeah, they'd have to change.
I forgot
They'd
about
have
that.
to change quite. And then, like, if you put your mouse up in the corner, is it gonna like go like this around the corner? Or is it gonna go up where you can't see it? Like, I don't. That's
another good point.
I don't know if they can do it, or if they did, they'd
like you'd
either
also
have to change
lose
a lot, right?
Like
or
if you look at the desktop in the top left corner, there's the Apple logo, so that would have to be kind of weirdly not in the corner, and so would the what do you call that? The little sidebar notification thing would also have to be off to the side, which would be a little strange for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no! Oh, YouTube just popped up a notification. We've detected copyrighted audio in your stream. Where?
What?
Where is it? Is it the Keynote? Is this Apple? Because I have been very systematic. There has been no music in this stream. We were very careful about that.
Yeah, does it say like what or who?
No, it doesn't say anything. It just says your stream might be blocked. You hate to see it. All right, let's get back into this. Now we can mope. Oh, beans.
An entire big aluminum bath. And they're put
they
together
got us.
previously with some advanced laser welding. But this is so thin, we wanted to do something even more incredible. The engineering team used a technology, you may not have heard of it, called friction stir welding.
You gotta love how Apple.
have.
I've never heard of friction stir welding, no, but you gotta love how they these like tiny details, and they really focus on them.
Super strong and nearly seamless. The lengths they will go to create these products is astounding. But how did we make it that thin? Well, to explain
There's nothing in
let me
it.
bring back up the
It's just
previous
glue.
generation.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how something new makes the previous thing instantly look old? It's incredible. Well, let's look inside.
You should. I bet you want to buy a new one now, huh? Don't you? Don't you, idiot?
The first thing the team did was engineer an entirely new display that's 5 millimeters thinner. That's a huge difference. And if you ever look closely at the previous generation, there's a very thin air gap between the display and the front glass, a 2 millimeter air gap. Well, we've removed that as well by laminating the display directly to the glass. This was a huge challenge. We've never laminated a display this large to glass.
Were the old
But
ones
the
that it was like
benefit to you is
magnetically
the entire
attached and
display
you could
system
just
is
pull it up?
45% thinner. That makes a big difference.
Yes, the old
Then
one had
remove the
magnetic cover glass, so you could just pull it right up. Actually, wait. Let's do a demonstration. Are you ready?
Oh boy. Your trusty old iMac.
Because of
Yeah, your
course I
trusty
just
old
happened to have one within arm's reach. So here's the old design. And the reason, let me see if I can get this up here. The reason why it's thick on the sides is because well, first of all, I mean, you have stuff like the DVD drive, so that's got to be over here. But more importantly, they had the thicker display. Like, granted, the display in the 2012 was a big improvement. That's a big reason as to why they were able to get it pretty thin. But you lost the ability to do this. And I think this is the best thing ever. Just pop it off. And then you can pull out the screen. Instead of having to get like a pizza cutter, literally, and cut the screen off like you have to do now.
Yeah, that was so nice for that like 12 iMacs project that we did.
Yeah, it was so convenient to not have to buy a bunch of adhesive strips. But as you'll well know, as you remember, Noah, and anyone who saw those videos, the insides of these things are absolutely just the messiest bunch of wires.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the 2012, the interior layout is way better. It's so much easier to work on. It's less upgradable, but it's way easier to work on.
Did they is the power supply still exposed on that one?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
This is Apple. They might make it simpler, but they got to make it dangerous. You know?
Oh yeah.
That's just how it
That's
works.
what makes
Wow,
it
that's
fun.
not on at all. Hang on a second. I got to put... This is not on. Okay. There we go. Alrighty. Off you go. Never to be seen again. I'm going to burn that later.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. That is actually that's the only one of the 12 iMacs that's left that I haven't given away or donated. So that's the only one that's left. Maybe we'll find a good home for it.
Optical drive and completely re-engineer all the internal components.
You gotta
Make
put
something
the
that's
video
amazing
back
to
up.
think.
Oh, my bad. Here we go.
Let's talk a little bit more about this display.
It is a good
Comes
display.
in two sizes, 21.5 inch and 27 inch. The 27 inch is 25.
I never understood the 21 and a half. I don't know why they did that.
1920
Yeah,
by
it's
1080.
too small.
They're both
And the bezels
IPS
make it
panels
look
for a
silly.
beautiful
It's so
viewing
weird.
angle.
It looks
And
really
it's full brightness,
strange.
Over 300 nits, so beautifully bright. And we said that's fully laminated. Besides making it thin, the full lamination delivers another benefit. When you look at it, the text and graphics will look like they're sitting right on top of the glass because they're right that close, and it improves the optical quality. And then we also apply an anti-reflective coating to the display. But we wanted to make it even purer.
That also helps.
Thinner,
Those old
quality
iMacs also have
image
terrible
quality. We
reflections.
use a new technology for us called plasma deposition. You can go home and tell people, yeah,
does that even mean?
plasma deposition. It allows us to apply the anti-reflective coating down
You
to
can make a drinking
nanometer
game out of all their like
And
crazy.
the combination of all
I
this
know.
process
Ooh, we
is
should
really
do that for
simple.
WWDC.
Customers are going to appreciate that it's 75%
Yeah.
less reflection
That would be fun.
than the previous generation. That's a really big deal.
This display, their anti-glare coating is actually good because unlike on the Retina MacBook Pros, it doesn't
Individually
peel off.
calibrated on the manufacturing line with a spectral radiometer. It's very, very
A
cool.
spectral radiometer. Cool.
Okay, good.
Gotta have one of those.
Some of the other features is a FaceTime HD camera for
720.
dual microphones.
Yeah, of
and
course.
stereo-
Oh, God.
A stereo sound system that sounds even better than the previous generation.
iMac
which
speakers
is
are
so
pretty
hard
good.
to achieve because this has
Yeah.
40% less volume than the previous generation. It also sheds up to 8 pounds over the previous generation.
Those old ones are
Pretty
heavy.
remarkable.
Even the current ones are
Again,
pretty heavy
like
too.
The MacBook Pro. So
Yeah.
much work has gone on the inside. I'm very happy to show you what that looks like.
Look how much better that
There's a
looks.
serious computer inside this thin
Ooh,
design.
that's so nice.
Here's some of the elements of it. Intel quad-core i5 or
That's
i7
so much nicer.
Yeah. I mean, you remember when we've had to take apart the inside, it's just a rat's nest of like a mix of proprietary and standard components that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. This is a lot more MacBook Pro-like, where everything is custom, which is not great because you can't upgrade the graphics. But if you want to do a full logic board removal, it takes 15 minutes. It's so much easier. Remember when we were working on the iMacinstein, and it took us like how long did it take us to put the logic board back in? 45
was-
minutes? an
That was
hour.
so bad. That was so bad. That was so scary. Oh.
Yeah, and because you're the whole time you're doing it, you've got that exposed power supply looming, waiting to kill you as you're trying to line up the USB ports and like get the RAM slots back into place.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
so
yeah.
bad.
Yeah, that was not a great time.
But this design was a lot better. The only thing is, you'll notice, like, if you look, wait, first of all, can you see my mouse? I don't think so, right? You
No,
can't?
I see it.
Oh, you do?
No, I see
Okay.
it, yeah.
Cool. So the biggest problem with this design is one fan. What the heck were they thinking with one fan? Now, granted, at the time, you know, in its stock configuration, this was back when not a lot of people really got the i7 configurations for the like the 27-inch had an i7, the 21.5-inch had a pretty low-powered i7. The interior of the 21-inch looks pretty much the same, it's just a little smaller. But the big problem was because like Phil Schiller said, that they relentlessly update the design to keep up with the latest technology. Because they didn't do that, they ended up really shooting themselves in the foot with this design, because the current, like this iMac right here that they're showing has mobile graphics that are like 75 watts, I think. And then it has a quad-core, not hyper-threaded i5. That's not a ton of heat that you have to dissipate. So that cooling design works. But right now, you can get a Mac with an 8-core Core i9, Vega 48 desktop graphics, which produce way more heat. And it has the exact same design on the inside. The same fan, the same heatsink, literally identical parts. You can swap the heatsink from a 2012 and a 2019.
Huh.
And, like, it's surprising how effective it actually is. Like, there's no thermal throttling on the 2019, but they could run their chips a lot cooler with a lot more headroom if they just changed the internal design. I mean, look how much empty space is up here. Like, all of this up here is empty. Completely. And then these speakers are gigantic, which is good because they sound good, but, like, there's not a lot of space actually taken up by computer inside of this.
Bridge processors, NVIDIA discrete Kepler graphics, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You can have either up to 768 gigabytes of flash or up to 3 terabyte hard drive and up to 32 gigabytes of memory. That's twice as much as before. So much work has gone into fitting all of that inside a computer this thin. In terms of I/O, a headphone port, SD card reader, 4 USB 3 ports, 2 Thunderbolt, and gigabit Ethernet.
That's a solid port selection. That's pretty much
I wanna
what they
talk
still
about
use, but they have
storage just a
Thunderbolt
little
3
bit
instead
more.
of Thunderbolt 2 now.
As I said, customers can choose a hard drive if they want.
Oh, this
and
is where
many
they
customers
came
do
out
because
with
they want
the
maximum
Fusion drive.
capacity.
Ooh.
Others choose flash because that gives you maximum performance. In many
But
cases,
what if
up
you
to
could have the
3 to
best of
4
both
times
worlds?
faster at peak
What if you
max.
could have neither of those things?
Well, with the iMac, as well as the Mac Mini we just discussed, we have a new third option for you to choose. It's called the Apple Fusion Drive.
Wow. I love the sparkly
Fusion
text
drive?
effects.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't
first,
see that anymore.
it's 128 gigabytes of flash storage.
Wow.
And added to that, your choice, either 1 or 3 terabyte hard drive.
Wow.
And in
I get to
software,
choose.
they're fused together into one logical volume. We do this so you can get much faster reads and writes than a hard drive can.
That doesn't really
But
help
best
you
of all,
in
it's built
the
into
long
OS
term.
10 mountain lion. So it's automatic. There's nothing to set up, nothing to manage, nothing to do. It just works.
In all seriousness,
So how does it work? Well, when you
back
order
in the
your
day
iMac,
when
you
Flash was
choose
so
the
expensive,
Fusion
Fusion Drive
You get
is
it
a
in this
pretty
one
smart
drive.
idea. Because, like, we don't need to listen to his the classic, very slow explanation that they always do in Apple. Like, all of your, basically, it would just, whatever you use most often, so your operating system, apps that you open all the time, files that you open all the time, it would put that on the flash storage so that it would be fast. And then the hard drive would store big old documents that you didn't necessarily open. So if you left a document that was like a couple gigs and you didn't use it for like a day or two, it would move it onto the hard drive. Now, the problem with the Fusion drive is because it's doing all of this management, it's doing a lot of reading and writing and copying and deleting off of these two drives, so they don't last very long. That was something that doesn't really get a lot of attention because you're using so much storage here. You're moving everything around all the time. You wear out your hard drive pretty quick. So they had a pretty high failure rate. But more importantly, now it's just, just do all flash. They still sell Fusion drives right now. You still have to pay extra for flash in an iMac.
They're gonna get rid of that this year.
100%. 100%. And that was the thing, is like, if they're going to get rid of hard drives. There will not be mechanical drives in an iMac anymore. And as soon as you do that, it's like, why would you keep the same design? You're just gonna have a big old hole in it. So it seems like at the very least they could make the bezels go away and just rearrange the internals at the very least.
Right.
Quad-core i5, 8 gigs of memory, a GeForce GT 640M, that's a Kepler part, and a terabyte hard drive for just $12.99.
What does the iMac start at now? I think it's like $10.99, and then it goes up to $14.99 for the Retina.
You can make other configurations if you like,
that.
and these start shipping next month in November. The 27-inch iMac begins with a 2.9 gigahertz quad-core i5, 8 gigs of memory, GeForce GTX 660M, a terabyte hard drive for $17.99. And these
They kept those
shipping-
pricing. I think the 27-inch still starts at $17.99.
We start shipping about
So
a
that's
month
nice.
later in December.
Yes, it's a
And
pretty
again,
good,
like all of our
pretty good
computers,
value.
incredibly environmentally friendly, Energy Star 5.2, EP Gold, UI.
All right, let's skip ahead here.
And they carry on this great tradition we call iMac. And that completes our announcement for Mac. I'd like to turn it back to Tim.
It's a lot of Macs.
Yeah, that was a good one.
One thing, all right, so let's see, how much do we have left here? Do we want to look at the iPad mini? I don't really think we need to watch the iPad mini.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, oh my gosh. They did the 4th generation and the iPad mini here.
Oh wow.
Holy mackerel. That's insane. That's 5 product launches. That's absolutely bananas. Now let's take a moment here. Let's go take a look at what we currently have here, because we're talking about, what is it, the 22nd? So we're looking at 8 days, T-minus 8 days until WWDC, which is going to be exciting. Let's take a look and see where the iMac is right now. A whopping 8 years after the keynote we just watched. Well, oh, I was wrong. They did keep the $12.99 for the 4K. That's actually a pretty good price, actually. And then $14.99 for the higher end. Yeah, honestly, the iMac has always been a very well-priced product. Even like the 27-inch one. Like, granted, even when you spend $2,300, you get a Fusion drive, so that's ridiculous, obviously. But compared to other Macs, performance on these for the money that you spend is really solid. Except for the entry-level one. Can we just take a moment to scoff at this blatant ripoff? Look at this. It's got a dual-core i5, 7th gen. This is a 3-year-old product. 1 terabyte hard drive, integrated graphics. Oh, did they put Thunderbolt 3 on it? I don't think it... Did they launch that with Thunderbolt 3? Maybe they did. I think the 2017 iMac, which is what that is, had Thunderbolt. So I think it is completely unchanged. That's
Nice.
ridiculous. Look at this thing. You can't even go above 256.
Really?
Oh my gosh. This
Oh,
this
no.
is an abomination that needs to be removed. And the only thing that worries me is the fact that they keep this thing around makes me wonder if they're going to keep this exact same thing still when they do a new update. Could you imagine?
Oh, I'd hope they'd at least take like that middle one and make it the lower one.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even care if they kept the price point. I say just drop this. This is a pointless product.
That just exists for them to make people go to the next one.
It literally exists. I'll show you why it exists. If we go to the iMac page, I guarantee it says
This is
somewhere like
starting
starting
from
at $10.99. Let's see how far down. This is the same image that we just saw in that keynote.
Really?
I think so.
It's funny.
Oh, this is pretty much the same. They changed the screen. Oh, they put Fortnite on it. Why would they do that? I literally lost my train of thought there because I saw Fortnite and my brain perished. Where does it say? I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't say starting at $10.99 up at the top.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they didn't say that. That's very surprising. Well, then even more reason to kill it.
Yeah.
This is a really great marketing here. Connectivity. It's very well connected. What a dumb
That's
sentence.
good.
I'm glad. Wouldn't it be interesting if they had iMac? It's not very well connected. Like, it connects a little bit, but not very well. You know, maybe don't. But I'm actually quite interested to see what happens with the rumored 23-inch iMac, because apparently they're going to get rid of this weird 21.5-inch and just make the screen bigger. That, to me, is very interesting, because if you look at this, like if you look at both of these models, granted they're out of date, so it's not like the current stuff, but these are the same processors as the Mac Mini. You've got DDR4 RAM. This should be 16, but whatever. There should be flash storage, and will be. And then these are the graphics that they pulled these directly out of the 15-inch MacBook Pro. So if we were to just apply some logic to the 21-inch iMac that's going to come out, let's take a look at this one. This is probably going to be a 6-core 10th Gen i5. Hopefully they'll start it at 16 gigabytes, but at $1,500, I think we're probably still going to get 8, which is kind of sad. But the graphics, I can almost guarantee, are going to be Radeon Pro 5500M, which is a really good upgrade. And it's probably going to have 256 SSD to start. But obviously it will be $100 less than this, something like that. That's solid. That's a pretty solid value. $1,500 for quarter terabyte, 5500M, 8 gigs probably, and a 6-core i5. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's good. I'm curious. What I'm curious to see is, because I know like the 16-inch MacBook Pro has starts at like the higher one starts at 512, right? Like, haven't they been updating all the
Yeah,
base
they
storage?
doubled the storage.
So you don't think they're going to do
old
512?
I think they're going to do 512 on the larger iMac.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
That's my guess, because basically they've just doubled the storage. So the Mac Mini update, which literally was just the storage, they went from 128 to 256 on the base. The MacBook Air and Pro were 128, now they're 256. The MacBook Pro used to be 256 base, 512 on the higher tier, and now it's 512 and a terabyte. So if I had to guess, I'd think the same exact thing is going to happen this year, where it's going to go 256 on the starting iMac, maybe 512 on the higher tier 21-inch. I could see that. And then the 27-inch. If they don't start the 27-inch at 512, I'm going to be pretty mad.
They gotta.
I mean, if we look at the MacBook Pro 13, it should. So it starts at 256, and then there's 512, and then you go to the 4-port model with the 10th gen, still stays at 512, even though it's got a price jump. And then there's another one at a terabyte. So I'm pretty sure all of those are doubled. I'm pretty sure it was 128, 256, 256, 512.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that for the iMac, let's see how it changes. Because I think it's a safe bet that the hard drive turns into 256. Then maybe the Fusion drive turns into 512. And then on the 27-inch, 512, 512, 1 terabyte.
I'd be good with that.
That would actually be really good. Because right now, how much do you have to spend to get a terabyte? you have to spend $300, which is actually not as much as I thought it was gonna be. Like going from so look at that. Going from 2 terabytes to 512 is $100. So I think that this model will get a terabyte. That's my guess.
That would be
That would be
solid.
good. That would be good. I'm excited. I think this is going to be a good... Oh, no, I wasn't showing my screen for that whole thing. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Whoops. Uh-oh. All right, let me go back. I'll just go over that really quick. 1 terabyte hard drive and then 1 terabyte Fusion drive on the 21.5 inch. So I'm guessing this is going to go to 256 and this is going to go to 512. And then on the 27 inch, again, 512, and then this is probably going to be a terabyte. Because you used to have to pay $300 to get a terabyte. But I'm thinking that that's probably going to be a terabyte stock, which is pretty good. Like that's not for $2,300. That's a really compelling option if they actually do that.
Yeah.
I would be very excited about that. All right, so let's see. How long have we been going? About almost exactly an hour. How about that?
Yeah.
So I think that does it for this stream. We can talk briefly about our plans for WWDC. So we are, what is that, the 22nd at 10 a.m. Pacific, right? I think.
Yeah. So it's 1 p.m. for.
So 1 p.m. Eastern time, and obviously I'll schedule that in advance so that you guys watching will be able to. You'll know when that's about to happen. But I'm excited. We're gonna do live coverage. Actually, no. We should mention that we're gonna go live. Do we want to do half an hour or an hour before to kind of hang out and hype it up?
I don't know. Some half an hour, some time before.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. We'll let you guys know. Follow me on Twitter at Luke Miani if you want
Nice.
more granular updates. Hey, I don't want to spam the community tab. People like get mad when I post there. I don't know why. But yeah, so we'll go live beforehand and we'll chat and hang out. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to upload the stream after the fact because Apple really goes on a tear with their WWDC copyright stuff, and they pretty much just take down or copyright strike anyone who uses it. So it's probably going to be like a live thing, and then that'll be it. Unfortunately, but I think it's going to be just as fun, even if we
I
can't
think
watch
it'll
it
be
back.
good. Yeah, so we'll join early, talk about predictions.
Yeah,
We'll see how many of them come true. We can talk at the end about how many of them come
we gotta
true.
make a word bingo. We should work
Oh,
on that this week.
That's a good idea.
We can. I wonder if I don't know if we'll be able to get that like integrated into the stream, but I think we should definitely do a word bingo, and then we can see even if it's more like a checklist. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty fun.
Alrighty. So as usual, like, comment, subscribe. Check out Noah's channel, which I am now realizing I don't have a link to and can't really add. So you'll have to just look him up. You got to get some more content out there, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Get some content. So yeah, we will be back on the 22nd, probably like 45 minutes before WWDC to hang out with you guys and have our predictions. We'll talk about our bingo board, and we're going to have a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining. Noah, would you like to say any final words? Great words. Inspiring stuff from Noah. Thank you all for joining, and we will see you in 8 days.
Yes.
Give or take.
Mark your calendars.
Yes. Please actually do that. That would be good. All right. See you guys later.
Peace.